You see, it's only the idiots that think that they are special in any way, that they are privileged and they've got rights. You know, this is the thing that always makes me laugh. The idiots have never had any rights. The only so-called rights that they have felt as if they've had were blessed upon them by the state. And, you know, let's just say at this moment in time, because there's a global agenda on mixing all the miscreants in with the regular people of any country, because there's certain powers that want to break the backbone of every society. Well, then they give those more rights than the indigenous people, don't they? And if we just look at like the so-called hate speech, well, how long and broad is that? How far does it actually extend to? It's one of those things whereby you only ever know if you say something and if you get arrested and prosecuted. And then you go, well, where does this shit end? It doesn't end anywhere. It's all down to discretion, their discretion, of how tolerant they want to be at any given time. And so, the so-called human rights, I mean, look around the world. What human rights? You've got so many countries that haven't had any human rights at all. They've never given the people a single ounce of human right. Like they have been born into God's world and God gives them those rights. No, you're born into a prison with rogue states, and the states don't see it like God did or supposed to have. But when you look at what God did, Yahweh in the Old Testament, oh goodness me, he was the biggest tyrant anyone could ever meet. So you can see where all these tyrants have got it from. If it's good enough for the Jewish God, well, it's good enough for us. And if you look at what's going on in Iran, very recently, the people started to rebel and rise up, and the armed forces just gunned them down. Just gunned them down, people. Bullets. They're not messing around with rubber bullets and tear gas. They shot them dead. Thousands of them. Zero tolerance. And that's exactly what Aristotle was saying, which is the nature of tyrants. And so, you'll all get to see in your lifetime, if you've got another 20 years left in you, how all these countries that you've grown up in and you've considered to be democratic never were democratic. They were only ever pretending because they were still weak enough to fear an uprising. But they're not anymore. And they haven't been probably for the last 20 years, I would think. Because of the technology is so sophisticated now. And the powers that be have really stepped up their game. And no corrupt politician resigns anymore. Back in the day, 20, 30, 40 years ago, if politicians were caught, you know, with the finger in the fucking kitty or, you know, doing a bit of bumming or something like that, then there'd be a public outrage and then they resign. It doesn't happen anymore. They stay in power because the powers that be, the real power, which isn't the people, tell them to stay exactly where they are. And fuck the idiot in the street because they've got no power and they'll do what they're fucking told. So, with all of this stuff from Peter Thiel, Palantir, and the deploying of that particular company and technology all over the world, it really is getting more and more every single day like Minority Report. It absolutely will be like Minority Report, and it will be like any sci-fi movie that you've ever seen. Because it's a funny thing. Someone with imagination, someone with vision of how they wanted the future to be, commissioned those movies. Or if somebody wrote a book and it's science fiction, well, powerful people get hold of that stuff and then they go, that looks like a good idea. And then they get people and they say, can you make this? Can you create that? What sort of technology do you need to be able to do this, that and the other? And then they do it. And so the noose is being tightened around the neck every week. And whenever a country wants to stop fucking around and wants to stop pretending, whenever it feels powerful enough to be able to do that, then it will tell you straight that you don't have any human rights. You have state privileges. That's what you have. And, well, like it or lump it. And if they don't want you to leave the country, then you ain't going anywhere. Because the passport belongs to them. Because you belong to them. You see? You know, people think, oh, I've got a passport, I can go anywhere that I want. No. You go wherever they allow you to. And the moment that they don't want you to go anywhere, they'll just turn you off. So you'll try to present your passport to any border or airport in the country, and the computer will tell you no, and you'll be arrested on the spot. Now, doesn't that tell you that you're not free people? You just have an illusion of being free. You're like rats in a fucking maze, rats in a cage. If they were born into the cage, then they know nothing of being free. They think they are free because they can go to one side of the cage to the fucking other, and they can claw up a few fucking bars, and they think, oh, look at me, I've got all this freedom within exceedingly narrow parameters. And that's the pink ape, people. And it's always been the master's intention, but it hasn't always been possible to implement it because they couldn't control the whole parameters of any country like they can now. They can literally patrol every single inch of every parameter, and they'll do this via huge rivers and natural borders and mountains and all different sorts of stuff like that. And where they haven't got those natural borders, then they'll police them with their surveillance and all the rest of it. Even back as far as the Second World War, for those of you that are old enough to remember that movie, The Great Escape. Well, it wasn't easy getting out of Germany, people. It wasn't easy at all. And that was, 80 years ago. And they never had any real technology. And so you can imagine what it's like now. And so, people all live in a delusion because they're ignorant and stupid. But when people wake up to the prison that they're actually in, so many prisons, the prison of your culture, the prison of your ideology, the prison of the nation, the prison of the rules and regulations, the prison of your programming, the prison of your ego. It's prison within prison within prison within prison. And when you look at the human being, what real autonomy does it have? What real free will does it have? It has to sleep, it has to find food, it has to find water, and these things out in the natural environment take up an enormous amount of time. And so on a good day, okay, it's summertime and there's loads of fruit and vegetables and things like that, and there's copious amounts of animals that you've hunted, well, you can have a couple of hours fucking siesta. But then you're back at it the next fucking day. It's a hard life, people. It's a very, very hard life. Because your body puts itself in prison because it needs constant fuel. And you look at that and you go, wow, isn't that a thing? Isn't that a curse, really? It's a curse, isn't it? When you've just got to constantly forage and hunt and put yourself at risk many times. You've got to work really hard, planting crops and foraging for little morsels here and there, and then hunting dangerous wild animals. Oh, goodness me. And then, you know, by the time you've cooked it all, yum, fuck's sake, you've got to do it again tomorrow. Wow. If that ain't the prison, I don't know what is, people. It's fucking prison. Now, I'm always banging on about how I'm kicking the muppets and how I'm free. And someone in the comments went, oh, real freedom is, you know, living in the mountains, living out there with the bears and all this sort of thing. And I'm like, really? Until you broke your leg. Until you've got a bit of an infection. Until you've got toothache. Oh my God, until you've got toothache, people. What are you going to do when you've got toothache? When you've got an abscess? When you've got maddening pain that you can't cook, you can't provide for yourself, you can't hunt, you can't do nothing. You've got maddening pain. What are you going to do? If you haven't got someone to put a fucking stick in your mouth and smash it with a rock, to smash that tooth out, what are you going to do? And so the whole fantasy of living in the mountains is exactly that. It's a fucking fantasy. No, I have a doctor's 1 minute's walk away. I have a dentist, let's say 20 minutes cycle. There is actually one over the fucking road if I wanted to pay for it, but I don't. There's a shop just over the road, 20 seconds walk. There's all of these things that I've got. There's Amazon at my fingertips. When I want anything in the whole wide world, I just look on eBay or Amazon and a few fucking fingers on the computer, and then like magic, it's at my fucking door the next day. Really? What if you lost your axe out there in the fucking woods? You're fucked, in ya. What if you fucking ran out of bullets? Oh, you're fucked, in ya. Too bad. No, don't be talking to me about being free in the fucking mountains, mate. No. If you live in communities like Indians, which fashion bow and arrows and fucking things like that, and spears, and they make axes out of fucking rocks, and you've got little societies going, and you've got people to look after you, and you've got medicine people that know something about the herbs and shit like that. Okay, you could do that to a degree, but no, there's no such thing as freedom, people. No such thing as entire freedom, because even like me, when you'll never have to work again, and you know, all these facilities all around me, somebody's doing them, I'm not doing nothing, they're all working for me, and I'm like, well, I still got a beer. I've got a beer then, haven't I? I can't go and live in a cave. Fuck me, I like a nice piping hot shower. My shower, the button on my shower, right, it started to get a little bit temperamental the other week, so I phoned up the housing association. I said, my shower's being funny. Oh yeah, what it's doing? Oh well, sometimes I have to press it 10 times before it responds. Okay, we'll send out an engineer. Sent out an engineer, replaced it with a brand new one. If I get a little bit of mist in my windows, double glazed, call the man up. Come out and replace it. If I get a switch that doesn't work, call the man. Come on, people. Don't talk to me about fucking bullshit living in the fucking mountains. I just fucking pull a curtain, press a button, and I've got piping hot water forever. If I wanted it. Forever. And then copious amounts of food being stacked in my supermarkets. Forever. Can't imagine that changing, even if we have a nuclear holocaust. Fools have got to eat, so some cunt's going to be doing it. And so, fucking packed chicken and cooked fucking pork chops and lamb chops and tins of fucking this, that and the other. Mountains. Don't fuck with me about mountains, for goodness sake. People need to think more. You need to think a whole lot more. No. Where I am now, as snug as a bug in the fleece of the beast, is absolutely perfection. As far as perfection goes on this planet, there is nothing better. My time free to me every single second of the day, except when I need to eat shit and piss and sleep. Then I'm governed by the body. Other than that, I can do what I want. Fucking mountains.